Thank you for tuning in to No Flag Radio. I'm your host, P. Doing the damn thing. Today we're talking about Minnesota's 3%ers, also known as the United Patriots of the 3% of Minnesota. And by the end of this, we're gonna understand the militia, police, Fed complex we got going on in America. You've heard of the prison industrial complex, military industrial complex. Now we're gonna talk about the racist, white supremacists listed as a hate group, militia, race soldier masking as police, FBI who's supposed to be investigating all the bullshit complex. This is what is going on. This is the new thing in 2018 if you ain't been watching and paying attention. So as we do our tour of these hate groups, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, it ain't just me saying it, I want to highlight the level of foolery that they've been allowed to rise to under the watch of the FBI with the participation of the police and how they get treated nice by the police, as we saw at the Unite the Right rally, the second one they threw in Washington, D.C., the capital city of the United States of America. Right? Police will protest Beyonce and protest protecting her at her concerts because she do a video shaming police brutality, or a Super Bowl presentation paying clothing homage, mind you, clothing homage to the Black Panthers, because we know Beyonce ain't no freedom fighter. Let's get that straight. Her and Jay-Z are wave riders. Let's not miss that fact as we journey through this environment called community consciousness. Yet these well-penetrated, well-bent over, and sexed by white supremacist terrorist organizations, police, we have to deal with daily. They'll protect all manner of the Oath Keepers, all manners of the neo-Nazi Richard Spencer, Jason Kessler, in full pomp and circumstance at the Unite the Right rally, if you didn't make the connection. So the goal I set out on with this particular video, I wanted to highlight Minnesota's 3%ers as my next group, because in sticking with the topic of police, I've got footage of police that were called to the scene during an open carry experiment, and he did something very telling that I want you to look at. Just in case you're one of these people that still think police officers value policing and value their policing fraternity, rather, over their white supremacist hate group fraternity. Again, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. So let's take a look.
Or we can escalate this another way, all right? Are you gonna be cool?
I do not consent to questioning.
Dude, look, you can try this constitutional crap all you want, but I got news for you, okay? I'm part of that 3% that you're trying to represent, but you ain't doing nothing to get up for everybody else right now. You got me? Now then, do you have ID on you?
No.
You don't have ID on you. So how am I supposed to know whether or not you're a felon? You're absolutely right. You've got a Second Amendment right to walk down the streets in the city of Houston with a gun on you, right?
Alright, so you see what we're dealing with, right? Talking that I'm one of you. I'm one of you, buddy. I'm a part of your hate group, buddy. And why is that police officer not called to the task? That's the reason why I did my video on we gotta do intel on these police that get away with shooting people, and the DA, we gotta do intel on who these people are, where they live at, even more important, what businesses they support, so the blow can be felt from the shit that they on. And YouTube took the video down, but they put it back up after a couple of weeks. I appealed it, they put it back up. So when I came across the trolls that populated my video, as we were talking about our brother Thurman Blevins, and you know, I don't talk about my trolls much. I might get at some of them in the comments, and they usually never respond back because it's usually just what I thought, some dork-ass white boys that got their twats in a knot. You know what I mean? They got their ass in a screw off the mountain of truth that we standing on over here, and the fact that a rock off that mountain of truth having to roll down the mountain and split their dome piece while the mountain of truth is still standing in one place, not being moved, they feeling fucked, right? But when people talk that shit, I'll be like, bitch, here the facts go. Look at this shit, ho. This is how your boy P think. But in the scope of the video we just watched, let's pile on the fact that the Minnesota 3%ers have been targeted in the FBI's counter-terrorism probe for quite some time. Alright, they're on the Fed's radar, not just Southern Poverty Law Center or whatever. They're on the Fed's radar and are still being allowed to operate. Black people, I repeat, they're on the Fed's radar and are still being allowed to operate. Okay? July 2017, information about the probe came out and how these dudes was talking about killing feds. Dudes who we see have infiltrated the police. From the video we just saw, yet my video got blocked on YouTube for weeks, calling these dudes out. Dudes who talk openly about killing feds, yet they get exposés done on them, humanizing them on local news in Minnesota. I believe there was a Fox News affiliate that did a report on these guys in November of last year, 4 months after the probe that the FBI opened up on these dudes and one of their leaders. You understand? So don't miss that shit. So what do we have going on with these 3%ers? Let's look a little deeper into the probe that's going on with these guys, that's been going on, ongoing so-called probe that's been going on with these guys, and what the feds have been digging out about them and how it compares to what we've been digging out about them. In court documents, the feds, talking about the FBI, right? The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, described these guys as a militia that, quote unquote, in their records, believes in the non-violent resistance to or intended overthrow of the government. And the Fed was like, oh, hold up. Let's open up a case on these fools. Let's look into these dudes a little more. So we thought, or so we seem to see. And this group was formed right after Barack Obama's election to the presidency. Is that a timely coincidence? Hell the fuck no. Okay, Obama's black and white folks started tripping. Trump got elected and all this talk of the confidence of white masculinity has been restored. I've seen plenty of articles on that. White masculinity is now on top again. This is the psychology that white males are walking around running with, and if you're not paying attention to it, you'll think, oh, it's just one or two of them, and the working day white supremacist terrorists, they're my friends, and this is just some fringe toxic masculinity presented by a few white dudes that we're seeing. No, there's been plenty of best-selling books on this shit, and this is their own white male masculinity theologians speaking up on this shit. Books like Angry White Male, Angry White Men, The Neglected Voter, What's the Matter with White People, Finding Our Way in the Next America, right? These are all big books. And peep that mind state, the next America, as if Obama wasn't presiding over an America. And all of these struggle gene dog whistles that prop up some sort of refreshed allegiance to whiteness and maleness and all of its toxicity. This is what we facing when we walk in the streets looking at these fools on two legs, looking at us. This school of thought, every publisher that supports this school of thought, and every writer and every publication that pumped up this thought as Obama was in office and as Obama got out of office and knew they could cash in on this I think I'm tough now because Trump's in office kind of white male. That's like a bitch thinking she tough because she can grab a phone after she hit a man. I'm tough now because I can grab a phone and call somebody after I hit a man. That's what your working day white supremacist terrorist is on out here. Let's not lie. And that type of shit fueled organizations like the 3% that claim they want war with the feds. Claim they want war with the feds out of all this white jocking. Alright? Yet, they're part of the police that we see, yet the feds let them operate. You notice this, okay? We see this? Let them operate. They still around in 2018. Just be aware of how the feds, to the police, to the militias who claim they hate feds, are fully on code and intertwined. Pro-white male, anti-black family is the line they toe, period. And I'll put a link in the description to the 10 must-read books about white masculinity and what kind of unified, coded language these white supremacist terrorist organizations are united under. So let's look at what the United Patriots of the 3% in Minnesota, and a lot of them claim, things we've heard, but I'll repeat. They claim to be a civil defense unit, and this particular group in Minnesota, they claim they're concerned that the Obama administration was going to confiscate privately owned firearms. This was their mission coming in to Obama's presidency. And to me, that sounds very imaginative. Again, very white supremacist terrorist imaginative, as I talked about. Very dog whistly, and every branch of the 3%ers are running with it. Now that Obama's not in office, it's now tyranny, right? Another imaginative and even more nondescript term that they're throwing out. All of it just to say, they're just so coward they don't want to come out and say, I want to shoot black people in broad daylight. I've got cops on my side if I do. I just want to peacock strut it through the nightly news a little more and through the community a little more. Right? That's as far as they thought it out, y'all. I'm telling you. Now they clout chasing with these white supremacist terrorist organizations, is my point. Now that Obama ain't in office, they clout chasing. Now they want to stunt and strut and show off their allowances of a police force that's infiltrated by them. What's now being allowed to them is what they want to show off. The allowances of a federal government that allows them to threaten feds, but not shut them down in their entirety. Right? Drain every police force of their presence, at least, feds, because police are paid for by public taxes. People shouldn't have to pay the salary of cops in the 3% who want to flex on the gram with their shit. You know what I mean? Flex on the news with their shit, right? And if the FBI was smart, they would definitely not ignore and give a low bar of discipline to a group that has expressed wanting to kill feds. You know what I mean? That would mean the feds are willing to pay for the bullets that go through their vest and go through their bodies at the expense of keeping white supremacist terrorists, militia, pig farmer ass groups like this operational. It's suicide to be docile towards these groups from their standpoint, if they think about it. For now, I'm gonna assume the feds are in bed with these organizations that expressly want to kill feds, yet feds don't cease and desist their existence. On my channel, we say they all in bed, fucking and sucking and nutting on each other. This is what they're doing, and that's just what it is. I'm not gonna be fooled by the half-ass persecution the feds have made of this particular branch out in Minnesota. Look at what they've been allowed to do. When they started the probe last summer, these dudes out in Minnesota doing gangster shit. First of all, their leader, his name is Jason Thomas. Well, at the time, his name was Jason Thomas. They say they got rid of him, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it until I just don't believe it. The leader, Jason Thomas, he got his dough kicked in during a raid last summer. Quote unquote raid. Found all kind of whatever his little manifestos was, all this shit. And he's made it express in many ways and forms up until the raid that he about killing the first fed he see type of shit. This is what he been on. Some other gangster shit they doing. For all they members who can't get legal guns due to whatever legal issues they have, they building guns. They taking the riflings and they making their own little shit. They making big ass guns using metal. They got the metal shop workers getting on their shit. This is the type of shit they doing. They doing gangster shit out there. Alright? And on my video about black militias, we're gonna touch on how we can make our shit go. But just had to drop this on y'all. Let y'all know what's happening. And we got more coming. believe that. I'ma get it, y'all.